The Young Runner. A desperately sad story of a boy who became involved with a much older man that he likely looked up to, admired and wanted to emulate, but had his life turned upside down instead. Phillip Schofield is getting his life in order, ditching former bestie Holly Willoughby, attending weekly counselling sessions, protecting his money and spending time with his wife and supportive daughters. But what about the young runner? How is he doing? Has anyone even asked? In June, it was reported that ITV were paying for Phillip Schofield's counselling after ITV boss Dame Caroline McCall said she was concerned for his welfare, adding that she felt he had been hounded. Yet The Sun reported that ITV had refused to pay for the young runner to receive private therapy, being denied compensation for therapy when he asked. A source at the time slammed ITV for being slightly hypocritical, saying that the network told Phillip Schofield it would pay for any therapy, but only offered the runner a basic package, which he is understood to have rejected. An ITV spokesperson said, "We are offering duty of care support to both Phillip Schofield and Person X." After Holly Willoughby and ITV claimed they knew nothing about the relationship between them, evidence of Phillip's closeness with the young runner came to light after a showreel, filmed at the This Morning studios in a bid to launch himself as a TV personality, was unearthed, which sources said was made and paid for by ITV in 2014, in which the teenage runner interviewed Phillip Schofield himself. The video shows a closeness and ease between the pair, with the runner discussing singing in the shower. But sources alleged that staff were asked to help create the young runner's showreel as a favor for Phillip. The video shows the pair together on the This Morning set, and Phillip was quizzed on what he'd be doing in 3 years' time, to which he replied in reference to being on This Morning, "Well, if I'm still getting away with it, I'll be a happy man." He had been joking around about being unable to find a way out of presenting This Morning, having served 12 years there at the time. The crew member then joins Holly Willoughby on the famous sofa to get her opinion on his presenting skills. "Well, that was very good, actually," she says, before adding, "Tell you what, don't get too comfy sitting on this sofa. If Phil spots you after that, there will be trouble." The production assistant then shouts to Phillip, "There you go, watch out Schof," who replies, "Oi, you bleep." Holly Willoughby still to this day denies knowing about the relationship at the time. In the 4-minute 19-second video, the young man emerges from the lifts at This Morning. He says, "You can probably tell where I am just by the star on the lift. That's right, I'm at the This Morning studios, where hundreds of famous faces have come right out of this lift, from A-listers like Channing Tatum and Russell Crowe and Julie Andrews to famous politicians like Hillary Clinton, Tony Blair and David Cameron. And our very own This Morning family." Walking along the corridor past framed pictures of the presenters, he says, "There is Gino D'Acampo, our wonderful Italian stallion, and Phil Vickery. Hi Amon, and lovely Holly. Holly is on maternity leave. And one man who knows this room all too well is this guy, Mr. Phillip Schofield, and I'll be having a chat with him in just a few minutes." Then comes a brief spell in the This Morning kitchen where he invites viewers to email him about their favorite foods, before introducing Schofield. Next year he will have had 34 years, wow, on screen. This man started presenting the occasional Friday and he's still here after 12 years. That's a long temporary job, isn't it, Phillip? Smiling, Schofield tells the story of how he came to be cast in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Schofield asks, "Can you sing?" The runner interjects, "Well, I sing in the shower," to which Schofield agrees, adding, "In the car." The two laugh over a clip of Schofield in his days presenting children's programs for the BBC with Gordon the Gopher from the 1980s Broom Cupboard set. Schofield says, "I don't know what's worse there, whether it's the singing or the jumper." The younger man counters, "I think it's all brilliant, I really do. For me that's what I think a children's presenter should be. It's entertaining." He goes on to tell his mentor, "I think you are doing very well," adding, "You are getting away with it, managing to keep it going." A senior ITV source said of the showreel, "This is quite extraordinary. It shows the extent of Schofield's influence that he could make this happen for someone so junior. Everyone who allowed it to happen will have of course wondered why this was being done for a runner and what the relationship was between them. Of course it was all bought and paid for by ITV, it was filmed in the This Morning studios by the show's cameraman. It even starts with the This Morning music. I could hardly believe my eyes when I saw it. How many runners get access to the cameras, studio and main presenter? I'll tell you how many. None. Speaking about the circumstances of the young man coming to work on his show, Schofield said in his interview with the Sun newspaper that he had not helped secure the young man a job as a runner. However, he did offer occasional career advice and helped land him work experience on This Morning. I told him, I think I can get you an interview, but I can't get you the job. If you get in and screw it up, I can't save you, he recalled. He got the job on his own merits and started working on the show. Staff sources, though, say his closeness to the assistant was raising eyebrows as he insisted only he would help with his wardrobe and food. An insider said, it was odd, suddenly this new young staff member was glued to Philip's side. It was made clear to all other staff he was Philip's chosen aide, even though at times Philip was quite abrasive towards him. The Express newspaper reported in May that Phillip Schofield begged a YouTube star not to post a video that showed him having a meal with his young runner lover after the shamed presenter warned it could ruin his career. The video in question from 2015 shows YouTuber Jack Jones in what appears to be a restaurant as he pops confetti to celebrate reaching 1 million followers. Schofield can be seen in the background at a table with a younger man, who are both startled by the noise. In a video which was shared on Twitter, Mr. Jones claimed, after I did the video he begged me not to put the video up because he said, it could ruin my career, and I said, how could it ruin your career? And he said he didn't want to get into it. In a clip from This Morning, filmed in 2016, the young runner is filmed dressed up as an elf for a Christmas segment, appearing in the background. Phillip Schofield and Holly Willoughby, meanwhile, were sampling a range of whiskies from an advent calendar, including a bottle that cost £1,000. Taking a sip of the booze, the former host of The Cube remarked it was smooth before offering it to the young runner. Turning to him, Schofield feeds him the whiskey and comments, let's get the elf smashed. The young runner takes a gulp, nodding his head and sticks his thumbs up in approval, prompting Schofield to burst into laughter. Then, in 2018, photographs were taken at the National Television Awards which show Phillip Schofield accepting an award alongside his This Morning colleagues, including the young runner. In one particular photo, Schofield looks over his shoulder and shares a glance with the runner. A source said the young runner's position on the NTA stage raised questions at the time. He was on stage at the NTAs. Usually that's something that only the presenters and most senior executives get to do. And a former ITV daytime production member told The Sun that the stage position of the young runner raised a lot of eyebrows amongst staff. Most crew are either at the back of the arena or even watching the ceremony at another bar. It was all very odd. And Piers Morgan claimed the young runner confessed his undying love for Phillip Schofield at the NTAs in 2020. Morgan also made strong claims about ITV. One thing I know for sure, a lot of people at ITV knew about the rumors of the relationship. I mean, everybody knew at ITV, he said. Let's be crystal clear, that building was abuzz with this for about 3 years because 3 years ago, at the National TV Awards, in the ITV box, the young man concerned in this story confessed his undying love for Phillip Schofield. Everybody knew that. Mockingly sticking his fingers in his ears, he added, this idea that the whole of management is going, we didn't know anything about it. I mean, come on, that I know is not true. Then, shortly afterwards, on the night before Phillip Schofield came out publicly on ITV, he told his young lover what he was about to do. In the interview with the BBC, Schofield said, I actually spoke to him the night before the morning before I came out. He knew about that, he was never going to out me, we were still mates. Phillip said the young runner supportively replied, oh my God, amazing, that's brave. Well done. I hope it goes okay. A source said that the young runner was ambitious enough to forge friendships with Phillip Schofield's famous friends. He was very much into the spotlight and the lifestyle, they said. It was obvious to everyone that they were an item. But friends close to the young runner claimed that his dreams of a TV career were then ruined after his relationship with Schofield disintegrated and the young runner was moved from This Morning to Loose Women. When news of his relationship with Phillip Schofield became public knowledge, he reportedly went on to work in a country pub, with some reports suggesting that he was employed in a B&B in the north of England, far from his family and friends, whom he hoped would visit him. One pal said, he was a very prominent personality on This Morning. The next step would have been to get on the production team, and he was angling towards that. He should be having a good career in television right now, but because of this he's not. For someone who was determined to be famous, it's quite striking. It's obviously been a big downfall. It could be said that the young runner has often been overlooked amidst the Phillip Schofield scandal, with headlines preferring to focus on Holly Willoughby and a possible Schofield comeback. But all that may be about to change very soon. In June, it was reported that he would have his say in the independent investigation, and the question still remains as to whether he could have said anything incriminating about his relationship with Phillip Schofield, or even suggest that this morning presenter Holly Willoughby knew of their affair. If he has, it's likely we'd never find out. Rumor has it that the inquiry may not be as thorough as it's been made out to be, and not long ago, it was reported that Eamon Holmes and Ruth Langsford had not even been questioned. For a couple who knew the young runner well, by their own admission, their interview seems to have been oddly left down to the last minute. Phillip Schofield has said that he didn't lie about the affair to protect his career, but to protect the man he had an affair with. Yet, reports suggested that he was forced to admit the affair after the young runner admitted he was tired of lying about the relationship, and that he had unexpectedly confessed all to the lawyers at top law firm Mishkin de Reya, that Schofield had hired for him, presumably believing that he would keep quiet. It's been said that this ultimately forced Schofield to admit what had really happened. And Phillip, who is married to Stephanie Lowe, revealed further details of his affair with the young runner in a BBC interview with Amol Rajan, after it was revealed that the boy was 15 when they met at a drama school Schofield was patron of. Recalling the meeting, Phillip said, "I was invited by a friend of mine to go to open a drama school. But whether it was immediately or sometime after, he said, 'Will you follow him on Twitter, because he's a fan?' So I said, 'Yeah, sure, no problem,' which I did." Rajan added, "And he was what, 15 at the time?" Schofield said, "I follow 11,300 people, and in all the time I've been on Twitter, there has never been any whiff of impropriety." He went on to say the pair were hardly in touch, but the young man had later gotten in contact to ask if he could visit the studios, work experience type of thing. "I said come down and have a look, for sure," which he did. Schofield told Rajan the man was 19 when he had first expressed interest in a television career, and when asked by Rajan if, looking back on their messages, there was any sense in which you were flirting with him, Schofield said, "No, it was work stuff." He added, "I've been in television for 41 years. Nothing like this before. No accusations." He'd been working at the show for a few months and we'd become mates. We were mates. Around the studios we'd hang out together, chat to each other, that sort of stuff. And then in my dressing room one day something happened which obviously I will regret forever, for him and for me, mostly him. That happened maybe 4 or 5 times over the next few months, and I know it's unforgivable, but we weren't boyfriends, we weren't in a relationship." Asked why the affair ended, he said, "I was at the time beginning to get into a very poor mental state with my own sexuality. And it just sort of drifted. We stayed mates, we're still mates. And I got him work and runners jobs on other shows that I did because he was a very good runner and a mate. It's always nice to have a team around you that you know." Asked how old his former ITV colleague was when they had the affair, Schofield said, 20 or 21. Schofield then confirmed he did help him get a showreel together, but said the younger man was then given a job on his own merits because he was very good. Seeking to clarify the nature of their relationship when the former colleague was underage, Rajan said, "Just be really clear, your relationship between when you met him when he was 15 and then when he was 18 was occasional direct messages. No pictures of each other sent to each other." Schofield responded by shaking his head. Asked whether the messages were flirtatious, the former TV presenter said, "Just work-related, just career advice, career help." Schofield also agreed there was no sort of sexual forwardness at that time, by another shake of his head. Rajan went on to say that the crux of the issue is whether there was a potential abuse of power, adding that it might be perceived as grooming. "The circumstances are as follows. You met someone who was a child. You were in a position of power over them. You use your power eventually to give them something they craved, which was a shot at a job in the media. You nurtured a relationship and then that relationship became sexual. And they might ask, what's the difference between that and grooming?" Schofield replied, "Well, I would say that the initial list of things was not right anyway. Because it was a totally innocent picture, a totally innocent Twitter follow, and then it was a completely innocent backwards and forwards over a period of time about a job, about careers. What's wrong with talking to someone no matter what age they are? Does that mean that if you are following anyone on Twitter that you absolutely don't talk to anybody else or you don't give advice? So I disagree with the summation that you just gave, because that does paint a very grave picture. In an interview with the Sun newspaper, Phillip admitted that he didn't initially believe the fling would ruin his career, but explained that one moment instantly made him rethink. Then I saw the link with the drama school photo all those years before, and thought, this looks shocking, he told the publication, before going on to say that the lies around their romance soon started spiraling. Dismissing reports that the pair had used an apartment close to ITV studios, Phillip explained that this was not possible as a tenant was living in the property. But he admits the man in question had been to his southeast London apartment for beers. Phillip said, "But I didn't lie to protect my career. He didn't want his name in public. He wanted his own life. The lies grew bigger and bigger and bigger, and it was affecting both of us deeply. It got to the stage where it was out of control, and for whatever cost, it had to stop." Phillip continued, "I think my greatest apology must go to him. It has brought the greatest misery into his totally innocent life, his totally innocent family, his totally innocent friends. It has brought the greatest grief to them." He went on to say he hadn't spoken with him since this show kicked off, and added that he paid for his lawyers to independently work on his behalf. He also apologized and said, "I should have known better," adding, "I should have acted the way I have always acted. I should not have done it." In May, it was reported that the young runner could be planning to bear all on their secret romance. Pals close to the young man claimed that he was considering his options in how best to get his side of the story in the open. He was said to have been left devastated after Phillip called off their romance, and a TV insider said, "He was basically made to leave this morning when Phillip decided it was time, and shoved off to another show, with no notice and no say in it. He felt used and was left devastated by it. He has wanted to tell his story for a long time, but has always been too scared to go against Schofield, who has had so much sway at ITV for such a long time. He thought it would mean the end of his career because Schofield was always backed by bosses and could do no wrong. He was almost untouchable. He's relieved it's come out, it's made his own upset justifiable, and now he is getting the confidence to speak out. But he wants to do it the right way with the right place. He is considering his options, but it's fair to say he won't be short of offers. He just wants the truth out there. He's been sidelined and disregarded by someone he believed he loved for way too long." Please like and subscribe for more journeys through the Blinkerhole. For entertainment purposes only. Keep up to date with our latest investigations and hit the join button. If you like what we do, send us a super thanks. Official Blinkerhole merchandise is available in store.